The Strait of Hormuz isn't fully closed, but for some ships it might as well be. And that's a problem, because nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through this single corridor every day. For decades, global energy has depended on this narrow stretch of water between Iran and Oman, one of the most important and most fragile arteries in the global economy. But right now, that system is under pressure.
The Strait of Hormuz.
The Hormuz Strait.
The Iranian military responded by threatening to close down the strait.
Strait of Hormuz.
The Strait of Hormuz.
Tankers are being disrupted. Shipping routes are becoming unpredictable. Insurance costs are surging. And once again, the world is being reminded of a dangerous reality. Too much depends on a single point on the map. Except not everyone is equally exposed. Because while most countries still rely on Hormuz, the United Arab Emirates has already built a way around it. A 370-kilometer pipeline that quietly shifts its oil exports away from the Persian Gulf and straight to the open Indian Ocean. It's called the Fujairah Pipeline, and right now, it's being tested in the exact scenario it was built for. To understand why this pipeline matters, you have to look at how oil normally leaves the region. The UAE's largest oil fields are located in Abu Dhabi. For decades, crude from these fields was exported through terminals along the Persian Gulf, ports that sit inside the Strait of Hormuz, which meant one thing. No matter where the oil was going, it had to pass through the same narrow corridor. At its narrowest point, the strait is just 21 miles wide. Within that space, shipping traffic is squeezed into lanes only a few miles across. Through this bottleneck flows roughly 20 million barrels of oil every single day. It is, quite literally, the beating heart of global energy trade. But it is also a pressure point, because on one side lies Iran, and on the other, the Gulf states. In times of stability, this arrangement works. In times of conflict, it becomes a vulnerability. A disruption here doesn't just slow shipping, it sends shockwaves across the global economy. And for the UAE, that level of dependency was never sustainable. But from Iran's perspective, these bypass routes tell a very different story. For decades, control over the strait has been one of Tehran's most powerful strategic levers, a way to influence global markets without direct confrontation. Pipelines that route oil around the strait don't just reduce risk, they reduce that leverage, which is why projects like this are often seen not just as infrastructure, but as geopolitical signals. Signals that the balance of power is quietly shifting. So the UAE made a decision. If the front door was risky, build another exit. The solution was to move oil east instead of north, from the oil fields of Abu Dhabi to the coast of the Gulf of Oman, a direct route to the open ocean. The result was the Fujairah Pipeline, also known as ADCOP, completed in 2012 at a cost of around $3.3 billion. It stretches roughly 370 kilometers across the country. At its core is a 48-inch diameter steel pipeline, capable of moving up to 1.5 million barrels of oil per day, with the ability to surge toward 1.8 million barrels per day when needed. And today, it's not even running at full capacity, which means the UAE still has room to increase flows when required. But building it was anything but simple. The route cuts across some of the harshest terrain in the region. First comes the desert, extreme heat, shifting sands, and remote conditions that challenge both construction and maintenance. Then come the Hajar Mountains, a rugged wall of rock separating the oil fields from the sea. To cross them, engineers had to carefully manage elevation, pressure, and flow across the entire system, because oil doesn't just flow uphill. It has to be pushed. A network of pumping stations maintains constant pressure, ensuring that crude moves efficiently across the landscape. At the same time, fiber optic monitoring systems track the pipeline in real time, detecting leaks or disruptions instantly. This is not just a pipeline. It is a high-precision energy system built for reliability. At the end of this system lies Fujairah, a port that has quietly transformed into one of the most important energy hubs in the region. The UAE built massive storage infrastructure here, including tanks capable of holding millions of barrels of oil. These act as buffers, allowing exports to continue even when upstream supply fluctuates. But the real innovation lies offshore. Subsea loading systems and single-point mooring buoys allow supertankers to load oil directly in deep water. No congestion, no bottlenecks, just a direct connection from pipeline to global markets. But right now, Fujairah is also the system's biggest vulnerability. In recent weeks, drone strikes in the area have caused fires and temporarily disrupted loading operations. Some offshore infrastructure has been affected, and while operations have partially resumed, the risk remains. Because in modern energy systems, risk isn't just physical, it's financial. When tensions rise, marine insurance premiums surge. Some routes become too expensive to operate, others continue, but at a cost that eventually reaches consumers everywhere. Pipelines like this don't just move oil, they help keep it moving under pressure. As of March 2026, disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz have forced producers to rethink how they export oil. The UAE has responded by rerouting significant volumes through this pipeline, maintaining exports while others face uncertainty. The pipeline itself has held, but the system around it is being tested. And that reveals something important. You don't eliminate risk in global trade. You relocate it. Despite its importance, the system has limits. At full capacity, it can transport around 1.5 million barrels per day. That's significant. But compared to the roughly 20 million barrels that normally pass through Hormuz, it is only a fraction. Even when combined with other bypass routes, like Saudi Arabia's East-West pipeline, the total still falls far short, which means the world still depends on Hormuz. And then there's security. A 370-kilometer pipeline is a fixed target, and that risk isn't theoretical. Iran has in the past signaled that such infrastructure could become a target, whether through ballistic missile strikes, drone swarms, or indirect maritime pressure in surrounding waters. In response, the UAE has invested heavily in layered defense systems. This includes advanced air defense like THAAD batteries, close coordination with U.S. forces, and a French naval presence operating out of Fujairah. Because protecting a system like this isn't passive, it's continuous. What the UAE has built is often described as resilience, but that word has two meanings: redundancy, having more than one route, and robustness, making each route harder to disrupt. This pipeline delivers the first, but recent events show that true resilience requires both. Because if the backup route is also vulnerable, the system is still exposed. The UAE didn't solve the Strait of Hormuz problem. They built a way around it. And right now, that decision is proving its value. Not as a replacement, but as a lifeline. Because in a world built on fragile choke points, we haven't eliminated risk. We've just moved it. And as the world begins to shift toward new forms of energy, a new question is emerging. Will infrastructure like Fujairah become a stranded asset of the oil age, or the foundation of the next global energy system?